Hello, everyone. Welcome to my presentation. So today I'm going to talk about the reliability of the constraint-based model to priming. So the constraint-based approach answers to the garden path theory. We have two sentences here, but the dog sentence is much harder to process despite both are reduced relative clauses. Garden path cannot answer this variability. The constraint-based model assumes the parser has considered all the evidence and has made a rational prediction based on prior experience with language. And as predictions go, it just so happens the result is within a reasonable outcome. What this meant was that speech comprehension is largely built upon prior knowledge and a stored set of values. Even if it's a dispreferred structure, they will still consider it. However, despite this logic that suggests humans are smarter than we thought we were, the reliability remains to be tested. Should comprehension difficulty be decreased through the buildup of prior knowledge? How easily could one break it down? This research proposal wishes to question the reliability to which constraint-based model could withstand against semantic sentence priming, and if the readers could adapt quicker with trained or prime sentence structures. The most essential research to understand was Balk et al.'s paper on priming and its robust effect. McDonald's paper suggested constraint-based model approach shows how broad range of information could affect early decisions. Giavazzi noted priming could be triggered in homogeneous and heterogeneous conditions and triggered more in passive sentences. Truthwell found items with weak semantic fit shows a strong processing difficulty, and vice versa. Our hypothesis 1 suggests semantic sentence priming would result in increased expectability from garden path sentence structures, meaning one would be easier in comprehending garden paths once primed. Hypothesis 2 states this preferred sentence training would result in increased expectability from garden path sentence structures, which meant training in garden path as opposed to priming is what's necessary to learning how to comprehend, which is an evidence for a constraint-based approach requiring a large amount of prior knowledge. Note that hypothesis 1 and 2 are mutually exclusive. Hypothesis 3 is a null hypothesis. Semantic sentence priming would not have an effect on expectability of a sentence structure, suggesting the garden path sentence are simply too difficult to approach directly. Methodology is modeled after the picture matching task with active and passive sentences from Giavazzi. The participants are separated into 4 conditions with 3 sentences and images of each. The main conditions are homogeneous and heterogeneous conditions with 2 variabilities of each and 2 associated images of each. And as this information step is rather complicated, I will present a simpler visual representation. So here we have the 4 conditions with initials after the condition for simplicity reasons, separated in simple sentences and garden path sentences. In homogeneous S, participants will be presented with 2 simple sentences in a row with a picture matching task that follows immediately and will be presented with a garden path sentence at the end as a test. Note that every condition would require a garden path sentence at the end as a measure of base condition. Heterogeneous G condition will have the participants be primed with a garden path sentence in the beginning, a simple sentence as its distractor, and another garden path sentence at the end. Heterogeneous S will alternate the first 2 in case of serial positioning effect. There will be 16 sentences for each sentence structure generated, both from Giavazzi's study and our readings. Each will be associated with a matched image and a mismatched image, as presented here, where the horse raced past the barn fell has a correct match in the first one, but the incorrect match in the second one, as it shows the barn fell instead of the horse. The participants will be native English speakers and with no speech or neural disorders. And as this is a visual task, visual impairment will also be a concern. They must have average language production skills and education levels. So the procedure will require the laptop computer. A research clarifying the procedures are 16 garden and simple sentences and its images. We would like a quiet and empty space, and the participants will be first split into 4 conditions randomly and will be met with homogeneous and heterogeneous conditions. Researchers will ask participants to read each sentence and be prepared to press a yes or no button once they see the following image as corresponding or not. Each sentence will appear for 2,400 milliseconds, immediately followed by a matched or mismatched image, which they will take as long as they need to answer. Participants will do this for the 3 sentences with 8 repeated trials in the respective conditions, and they will receive the debriefing at the end. So in terms of data analysis, Analysis 1 analyzes homogeneous versus heterogeneous block type on performance, measured in time. This will see how long it took for participants to respond to the last garden pass sentence. Analysis 2 will see the effect of the number of trials on performance, which shows if familiarity could be grown with the final garden pass sentence and will allow us to determine whether or not to include later data, should overpractice result in confounding variables. Analysis 3 will see how the condition types have affected accuracy in image matching, allowing us to rule out outliers or absolutely incorrect image matchers. Hypothesis 1, should it be true, as we arrived at our conclusion step, states that priming will result in increased expectability from garden pass sentence structures. So in terms of data, we will see the heterogeneous G and S condition, which are the priming condition, to increase the speed of comprehension for the garden path. And this will mean that the constraint base is relatively unreliable, as semantic sentence priming is too easy, too simple, and too quick to make the participants be accustomed to garden pass sentences, since it assumes that a large amount of prior knowledge and experience is required to build up our sentence comprehension skills. Hypothesis 2 states that the sentence training would result in increased expectability from the garden pass sentence, which the homogeneous G and only homogeneous G, which is the garden sentences, improves the speed of comprehension. The constraint-based model will thus be reliable, as this suggests that massive prior knowledge is being built here, since we will consider this as a linear type of training and will be following along the lines of it. The null hypothesis suggests that neither conditions will have effect. However, despite this there being not a relatively significant change, the constraint base is still reliable, as semantic priming did not have a significant effect on this, and suggesting that the constraint base is not that easily swayed, but also that it may require more practice and honing for one to be accustomed to the garden path comprehension. Thank you. That is my speech.